Welcome, marvelous makers,
and art appreciators,
to the ArtSpace podcast,
brought to you by Lemon Street Gallery and ArtSpace,
located at 4601 Sheridan Road.
Stop on by your favorite citrus-themed art gallery today, or on a day it's open, and peruse our wonderful art. Come say hi to the people here. You're going to see some smiling faces, and we'd love to see you.
Yeah, and your hosts are Shelby Nesmith
And Jake Hoy.
And today we have as our lovely guests two members of the band. Would you kindly, if you want to introduce yourselves?
Would you kindly introduce yourselves?
Yes.
Yes. I'm Gina Marie Hoskins, and I'm the lead singer.
My name is Paul Hoskins. I play guitar.
And this whole thing kind of started with us.
Yeah, you guys are like the nucleus of the band, so to speak. And no offense to Daniel, Megan, and Haven.
Yes.
And manager Josh.
And manager Josh. We actually, the crew that we get to make music with it's such a blessing, and we're sorry they couldn't be here. But Megan Weaver plays electric violin for us. We have our drummer and backup vocalist, Haven Wells, also known as Miss B. Haven. And Daniel Harrison is our lefty bassist and sound guy. And Josh Maggs manages all of our logistics and the details, so we get to just do art and not necessarily worry about business, which is nice.
Yeah, you guys have quite a crew going on. I will say you have a very attractive violinist. I may be biased. Full disclosure, I am dating Megan Weaver, your boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, that is the thing, yes. And Jake is a lovely roadie who helps us out.
I have been known to help run sound from time to time,
Yeah.
so that you guys don't have to talk into a ball of yarn. And full disclosure for the people at home, I had to improvise a mic stand,
Yeah.
and I have a weird thing of yarn that is holding up my microphone so I don't make noise and ruin this recording for all you people.
Hey,
But enough about me.
The things we do for our listeners.
things you do for art.
Yes.
Speaking of art,
Aw.
let's talk art and let's talk music. Music and art, they're one and the same, but not in a lot of ways, but yes, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, we consider what we do art. We consider all music as a form of performance art because there is something really special about creating. And whether you're creating music or paintings, it's art to me. There's something to be said through it, I guess, which is a weird way to phrase that, but it's what it feels right. Like I can't paint or draw or do literally any sort of like physical like art.
Me
Not
neither.
a thing I've ever been.
That's Haven's suit.
Yeah,
my
that's
band.
Haven's suit. But like she did the artwork for our album, The Aftermath. Haven drew that in colored pencil and then digitized it with a tattoo artist, and it was the wildest experience. Because I was like, I see these kind of images, and then she made them visual, and I was like, ooh, yeah, that. But like, I can have someone tell me a story, and I can write pages of lyrics about it, about like how the different words that you can use to say different things. And like, I think that those lyrics can also be art. And like what Paul does on a guitar,
Questionable at best.
It's art.
it
It is
is.
very much art. It is fantastic guitar work by Paul.
It comes from it comes from the depths of his brain and then makes noise that makes people feel things. And like, that's kind of what art does, is it makes you feel something, whether it's makes you feel angry or happy or sad. I don't know. I'm usually just amazed.
Right.
Kind of a spacey person. I like to stare at art, which is what I'm doing this whole time, by the way.
Well, we are recording in an art gallery, so
Yeah. For the people listening, I'm looking at the artwork around the room while trying to also make conscious thoughts. Great times.
And this is the classroom, so there's not as much as compared to the rest of the.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Getting into it, we'll get right into the questions.
We have some questions here for you guys.
All right.
What is your earliest art memory or music memory?
Or both.
Oh, yeah.
Both. I think for me, it was my grandfather was a opera singer. He's from Italy and he's Italian, and so he would sing opera to me when I was a baby and when I was, growing up. And I think one of my first memories is actually him singing Ave Maria. It's a weird, like, those memories that you don't know if they're real memories, but it's one of the first things I can remember is that song and my grandfather being the one singing it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Have so many different memories from when I was a kid of music that I don't know which one was first or even what age any of these were. And I
Nobody's
probably got
gonna
these
know.
all jumbled up. So I'm thinking probably one of the first ones that I can think of is when I was a kid, me and my 3 older sisters were all put into piano lessons as soon as we hit kindergarten. That was like the house rule. And I remember right before I started playing piano, because no 5-year-old boy just is like, piano, yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's rock and
man.
roll.
Move
Yeah.
on the piano.
Sitting here jamming out to Iron Maiden and stuff like that with my dad, and I'm like, yeah, you know what really goes well with metal? Piano. Little do I know later, it actually does.
Yeah.
But as a kid, you don't know that. But I remember sitting around upstairs in our old house, and all 3 of my sisters gathered around the piano and all doing basically a little sing along while the oldest one was playing Disney tunes on the piano. So that was a good time. They still do that now. They don't play piano very often, but when they do, we still have all of our old Disney piano books sitting at Kristen's house in her piano bench.
We have to do Hakuna Matata, mostly because when I was in preschool, I wouldn't go to preschool unless my mom let me watch the Hakuna Matata song, which is why I have Simba tattooed on my arm. Every morning, we watched Hakuna Matata. Every morning. Otherwise, I wouldn't go.
A great way to start the day.
Yeah, it is. No worries.
Yeah, just what you need right before you head off to school. Just, yeah, got to be in the right mood.
To the place filled entirely with worries and nothing else.
Not in preschool. I think the biggest thing I had to worry about was if they were going to give me ketchup for my mac and cheese.
Oh, that's very important.
As a 4-year-old, yeah.
High stakes.
So what would you guys say influences your art?
Oh, so
Who?
many things.
Who? What?
So
Yeah.
many things. That's different for every person in the band. This is the best question for all 5 members because we all 5 come from very, very different things. Jake can attest to the fact that Megan is very much classically trained. There are some... You know, everybody has that one basic knowledge gap of something that everybody should know how to do, and some people just don't.
It's pop music.
It's pop music for Megan. Love her to death. She had never heard the song My Own Worst Enemy by Lit until I played it on stage, and she was like, oh, is that a new riff we're jamming on? I like it. Like, yep, that was a new riff from my 4-year-old brain that I've known forever.
Yeah.
But Haven is all R&B and hip hop. She never really played like metal or rock music or anything like that. That's where I came from. I was doing like Pantera and Iron Maiden. That was the stuff that I played growing up. And so switching back and kind of bringing that back down, because that's all the bands I've played in before. I was actually a drummer for most of the time. It was metal bands.
We can talk about Daniel's really obscure taste in music, but I can't name a single band.
Daniel's
other than
got this
Coldplay.
project that he's doing this year. This is like his New Year's resolution, is to listen to nothing on repeat. Is only all new songs all year round. And I mean, he's doing some weird stuff.
He listens to some of the most obscure music I've ever heard.
Him and Haven's boyfriend both listen to this band called 100 Gex that I've never heard of before in my life.
Me neither.
And I can't even describe it, but it really sounds more like I'm having a panic attack and I want everybody to know it.
No.
So I don't understand how they do it.
Oh, goodness.
And then my background, I mean, if we're talking about what started me in making music, it was probably my mom. Like, she was probably my biggest influence because she loved to sing. She wanted to be a singer. And then she smoked her way through 2 children. But I mean, she's always been a singer, and, you know, she's always encouraged me to keep singing. I started so young. I don't know a time I wasn't.
Yep.
But if we talk about the art we're making right now, the influence all comes from our lives. You know, it comes from what you know. You can only write what you know. And so the lyrics to our songs, the instrumental riffs are all coming from our collective experiences, but also the stories that we want to tell. Our album's a really good showcase of this, actually. We released an album back in November called The Aftermath. That was about my journey. The lyrics and the music was written to be about my journey with domestic abuse. Be that sexual, physical, mental, emotional, whatever it may be. And I went through a really long time of not making art because of that abuse, and not making music and not singing. Hardest time of my life. But the album is rooted in that story. So I guess that inspired 12 songs that are now people are listening to and like hearing and connecting with. And it's one of the biggest compliments we get at shows is like, I hear you and I feel it and thank you. Like, and we got that at Anodyne up in Milwaukee. We had a woman approach us and say she was going through her own aftermath. And I started crying. And I gave her a copy of the album. I was like, take this and just listen to it. There's resources in the inside cover for the album for domestic abuse victims. And it's a whole thing and sharing my story was what inspired me to get back into making music. And so I guess that kind of is where that has come from. And now what we're writing now, we're taking more collectively from the whole band's experiences.
The difference between the first album and what we're coming up with nowadays and hopefully releasing later this year. But if we're being real,
It'll
it's
probably be early
year.
2023. Yeah.
But it is very much a melting pot at this point, you know, because the first album was mostly written between just me and Gina. Her and I both just had a whole slew of riffs and lyrics and jumping off points from the last 20 years that we've been writing and just haven't had an outlet for, that we just kind of were like, hey, I've got this, can you go off of that? Hey, I got that, let's go, let's do it, you know. And it kind of made that whole album and everybody else jumped in and it's been amazing. But the upcoming is going to be a much more
collaborative.
Yep.
Haven has started writing lyrics for Would You Kindly as well. So is Daniel. Even manager Josh helped me out with a couple of words on the most recent song that we've been working on, which is called Tick Tick Boom.
Megan's been teaching me how to maybe care a little bit about what I'm actually doing on my instrument, because I just fool around a whole lot. You know, she's the person in our band that head checks us for actual
music theory,
right? Exactly. She when she first joined the band asked me, so what key are we playing in? And Deer and Headlights. You know, that's the thing I should know, but nobody ever asks me because I don't know. It's Capo 5.
Now she's the one. Whenever anybody's like, what key is this? She'd be like,
exactly. She's got it locked down.
It's actually pretty hilarious because we'll start a new riff and they'll be like, what key is this? And then she'll be like, play it for me. So the thing that the listeners, I was going to say readers, but listeners need to know is that Megan has perfect pitch. So we play chords at her and then she's like, yeah, it's in this key.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, thanks, Megan. It happens much faster than it used to.
She's
Daniel used to try to like
teacher in the group.
Yeah, Daniel used to like notate out all of the notes and then be like, "Oh, this is this type of maybe," and that's about as far as we got. Well, she's now technically the music teacher of the group. That would be Haven.
Both of them.
They both
they
do.
both are. Yeah.
Yeah, Haven teaches in at a charter school here in Kenosha, and Megan and Haven both teach lessons to students around in Kenosha, and Megan has some students in Lake Geneva as well.
Right.
Nice.
That they teach instruments to. Megan teaches violin and viola. Haven teaches just about anything you can pick up and play because she is insane. I don't know how she can play like 9 instruments. It's really impressive.
It is.
Shenanigans.
There's some people that could speak many, many languages, and then there's like other people that can play many, many instruments. It's just crazy how your brain is.
Many instruments is so much easier than many languages.
Well,
I'll tell you that right now. Holy cow.
I would imagine, but having that wide variety of skill.
Oh yeah.
It's
very
insane.
impressive.
Yeah, I can sing in 9 languages, but I can't tell you what they are. I can't tell you what I'm saying. I can just do it.
Okay.
Joys of training in opera. They're like, sing this in another language. Sure. No idea what I'm saying, but sure.
Going on to the next question. Well, we kind of answered that of what influences your art. You kind of said just your lives, and then this next project you're coming up with, you're going to work more collaboratively on this next one.
And that would include the theme song for this podcast,
It
potentially.
does.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, the theme song for this podcast we wrote, we met with Shelby and Jake to talk about what the podcast was going to be about and like why they wanted to do it, kind of get their vibes off of it. And then we sat down at our practice space. We practice at the Kenosha Creative Space. And we sat down one morning with the 6 of us and Cameron Fair of Betsy and the Well-Known Strangers. And we were like, why do you make music? Why do you do it? Why are we up until 2 a.m. on a Saturday night and then get up at 9 a.m. for practice on a Sunday morning? Why do we do it? What is the whole point? Why do we make art? And we talked for about an hour and a half, just about that one question. And we delved into everything from, we can't not do it, to depression, to inspiration, to hope, to dreams. There's just so much involved in what it's about. And so we wrote Why We Do It, which is the name of the song, for the podcast, because we felt that a lot of those same questions and answers came from art, came from music, no matter your medium. You know, there's a lot of reasons why. And we want to hear more of that, actually. We're going to have a booth at the Make Music Day Kenosha where people can write their why for art and music on a Post-it note. And we're going to post them all over the creative space as a part of a installation on their window wall following the event. But yeah.
Very cool.
We also kind of covered some other questions of like, what's your motivation to create? You guys so nicely, neatly wrapped that up into.
We're real good at rambling.
Yes, it's okay.
That's all what podcasting is all about.
Oh yeah, there's no structure to this.
We just talk.
So we'll bounce on to the next question of who is your favorite artist?
Or some of your favorite artists, local, otherwise, or
Musically.
musicians, all that.
There's
Go.
so much. There's so much here. I'm going to start with musicians. Someone who has inspired me since my first day on the music scene here in Kenosha. I met him day one at my first open mic, is Daniel Thompson. Daniel Thompson and his 3 AM Saints.
Actually, it's Daniel Thompson and Big Booty Thompson.
We
Best booty in Kenosha.
we got
Voted 2 years straight.
by you. It's always voted by you.
It's a
the only
one-man
one voting. If
election.
we get more people to vote, he's still going to win.
Hope you're listening, Daniel.
We've got a lot of love for Daniel Thompson. He inspires me as a human and also as a musician. We actually had him play our first dance at our wedding. We had him play one of his original songs because of how much he just inspires us. And I don't know, that there's just so much love there, and his music is really something special. Really, really something special.
We listen to his music more than our own.
It's true.
He will be at the Kenosha Art Market. He's performing there, so if you want to catch him,
Excellent.
Always.
yeah.
Not sure which month, so just show up to every one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
June
About how
through
that
October.
goes.
I feel like
Yeah.
we see him play every other week. We
Yes.
can't dodge him. It's like a magnet.
You can also see him here at Lemon Street on June 21st for Make Music Day.
Oh, we got him.
Yeah. I hadn't told you that yet.
Yeah.
We got Daniel Thompson will be here for your full event. So he'll be performing throughout the live guitar painting and pop-up event for Make Music Kenosha here at Lemon Street on June 21st.
That is next week if you were listening to this on the day that it comes out.
Yeah. Oh.
If you didn't and you were a week late, well, sorry.
Next
But
year, every year, June 21st, every year, summer solstice. Let's go. Music, art, fun. Yeah.
Other local favorites of mine are Violet Wilder. I get a
yeah,
kick
they're
out of
so
watching
good.
them every time.
They are so
they're
good.
incredible. They've got harmonies like crazy, and they all 3 play God knows how many instruments.
Yeah, they swap around on stage a
Yeah,
lot.
it's
It's so much
ridiculous.
fun.
I recently updated my pedal board because I liked the way that theirs sounded, so I copied some of their pedals.
As for more traditional style artists, one that we have a lot of interaction with, but also I really love what she's doing is Katie Wallner, out of Hot Mess Studio. She does her own art and produces it, and I know she did a couple of showcases for it. But what she's doing with art is something I really like because I suck at it. But she makes it so that I can make something beautiful. She makes an art experience that's accessible to all age levels. And now she's working with as art therapy for the Hot Mess Studio. And I think it's a really beautiful thing. I like her artwork, but I also really love what it kind of stands for right now is that anyone can do it.
Oh yeah.
And that's something that for me, my sister's a painter and she's phenomenal. And I've never been good at it at all. And so it's oh, I can do a little bit now. I throw things at a wall and have a lot of fun and I get covered in paint. It was a great time. We did it on a date night. It was awesome.
Promote and Make Music Day one more time. Her and I both are doing separate presentations. For one for her and Hot Mess, and I'm doing a little drum presentation I usually do with buckets each year. And then we come together towards the end of the night and throw a bunch of paint on the buckets and go Blue Man Group style for anybody who wants to join in.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
That's one of the last clinics of the day. It's going to be so much fun. Oh, we got covered in paint last year. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's kind of the point, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's not the first time Katie's been covered in paint.
Or the last.
Yeah.
Or the last. I love it. But yeah, that would be a lot of the local stuff and like favorites outside of the local scene. I mean, there's 1,000. I get inspired by musicians all the time. I've got a musician named Alex Johnson out of Canada, all the way to like Fall Out Boy, which I'm sure most of you know who they are. Coheed for
Coheed
Paul.
and Cambria and August Burns Red are my some of my top ones. Another one that I argue with on a regular basis, especially with the guys I work with. Everybody wants to say that the Beatles are the most they're the most influential of just about any generation, and I will argue till the end of the night that it's actually Led Zeppelin.
Oh, okay.
100%.
All right.
Okay.
I am convinced that anytime anybody asks me, well, who the best of whatever instrument ever, guitar, drums, bass, vocals, I'm always like, it's Led Zeppelin. It's everybody in there.
I will argue that vocally, but that's okay. Different genres and a skill set you know nothing about.
Jimmy Page is my absolute favorite guitarist of all time. He's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, there's so much to be inspired from in music because I mean in our band alone we all listen to very different styles. We talked about that a little bit. We all bring a little bit of what we listen to what we play. So like identifying our genre, all we can really say is alternative rock, but like we do everything from pop to rock to jazz. We've got some metal breakdowns. For some weird reason, we do some bluesy stuff, and we have some like classical violin parts in some of our songs.
Alt rock's kind of a cop out because it's really hard to define yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's really weird.
Yeah, I like to tell people we make the music we want to listen to.
Right.
But if we're submitting to a venue to play, they don't like that answer.
No.
They want a little more specificity. Words.
Well, it's like that with regular art too. I mean, you know, we've had artists on here that they're like, yeah, I guess I do like surrealism or impressionism, but
Right.
really I just paint what I want to paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Labeling it yourself is weird. If somebody else comes and labels it, you're like, yeah, all right, I could see that, but
that sounds good.
try to do it yourself just feels it almost makes you feel egotistical when you're not trying to be.
Society could put the labels on me. I don't need to put labels on myself.
Right,
It never
exactly.
feels accurate.
Exactly. I like that. Anyone can label it what they want to label it. I just exist in a realm.
And I make.
Yeah, I do a thing that sometimes people enjoy.
Art.
Alrighty, well, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hey, Marvelous Makers.
And art appreciators.
If you like our podcast,
There's a good chance you like figure art as well.
yes, perhaps you were introduced to drawing from the figure when you were in college and have long enjoyed going to community draws.
Or maybe you've always appreciated figure art but didn't have an opportunity to try it yourself, or didn't know where to go or when, or even if you'd be welcome there, or if you'd feel out of place.
Well, if you'd like to be a part of this ancient craft, we have the solution for you.
We happen to have a world-class drawing studio right here in our own community, located within the 16th Street Art Studios, which is housed at the Racine Business Center, 1405 16th Street.
Draw Joseph Studio is the creation of Joseph Vigneri, one of the most prolific life models around.
Yeah, hasn't he posed like almost 1,200 times?
Yes, and he's introduced over 50 model proteges to the craft of life modeling as well.
Wow.
They constantly have new variety of models to draw from. Free weekly figure draws are every Tuesday night from 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m.
Wait, did you say free?
Yes, tipping the model is encouraged, but there is no fee to draw.
Tuesdays at 6, you said? Every Tuesday?
Yes and yes. Doors are open at 5:30, so come early and get the best spot. Oh, and Draw Joseph Studio also has 2 monthly draws. On the 4th Friday at 6 p.m. is a special long pose, and every second Sunday at 1 p.m. is a portrait session.
So second Sunday and fourth Friday for specials, but every Tuesday night for regular open session?
Yes, and there's always snacks too.
I love snacks.
Me too.
Draw Joseph Studio at the Racine Business Center, 1405 16th Street.
Park inside the main gate on the northeast side of the center and go straight into the tunnel. The studio is the very first studio inside the building.
Questions? Go to Draw Joseph Studio Facebook. We are back, and we have Would You Kindly with us today, and we're enjoying their company and having a fun chat, lively chat. And I have a question for you fine people.
Yeah.
If time and money were no object, what would be some of your dream projects? What's that bucket list thing that, yeah.
This. I'm not even kidding.
Playing music everywhere.
The whole thing, the people we play with, the music we make. I mean, it's a dream come true every time I get to step on that stage. I'm living something that even 5 years ago, I never thought I would have the opportunity to make music every weekend with people that are amazing and talented and so loving. To feel so loved and accepted by a music community, as well as the people that I get to play with. Yeah. It's absolutely the dream, you know? Yeah, it would be awesome to go on these big tours and play big stages and do all those things. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, I'm already living my dream.
Aww.
Every week.
Great.
That's the difference for me. If it were time and money that were no object, I'd be taking this little family we've got here on the road and go and see the world and play music. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. I don't need to be a millionaire, but if you're telling me that I could hypothetically for free and make a little cash, drive around and fly around the world and go play shows like in Ireland, like we were talking, and anywhere, literally everywhere. Ireland's just the next one on my list that I want to go to. It's been a while.
But yeah, I mean, that's just it, is like the dream project, the project itself, Would You Kindly, is everything I've ever hoped for. Getting to do more with it would be amazing. Every opportunity we get, we jump on. I mean, we have not really said no to any bigger step forward. It started as two people playing covers in a martini bar. We started at Sassy B's open mic, and it was just us playing Justin Bieber covers and like silly crowd stuff. Yes, we did Love Yourself at our first open mic. It was terrible. Oh my God, it was terrible.
People liked it because we made it a little bit more R-rated at the end.
True. I did a lot of swearing. But you know, when it starts there and you start making music, and I'm pretty sure it's the same in art, when you start doing exactly what you love and people respond to it, I don't know a better dream. I don't like, my job is fully supportive, and I know a lot of us in the band have a lot of dreams of things we would love to do with our music, but I mean, I think for the two of us here, we fell in love doing this, and we met people that we wouldn't trade for the world. And we have a community of people who rally behind what we have to say. And there's just nothing cooler than that to me. There's absolutely nothing cooler than that to me.
Aww.
Well, that's good. That's a happy answer.
It is, yeah.
Well, I mean, this question's more for a little bit more of our visual and like literary artists. But have you had any funny comments or comments that you remember?
Yeah, trust me. Your band sucks, but my daughter likes you.
We were at the orthodontist because I have to have upper jaw surgery, and the lady comes, she's like, "You're Would You Kindly," and we're like, "Yeah, hi, it's good to meet you." She's like, "I've seen you a few times. You're not really my style, but my daughter loves you."
Oh my goodness!
Thanks, friend.
Oh man,
That was funny. I don't take offense to it. I get it. Yeah, it's just hilarious.
Oh
It
my
was real
goodness!
funny. I love that. That was great.
I would say a lot of the funny comments come from on stage sometimes. We were at Black Lung Brewery in Round Lake, my hometown, over the weekend, and we have a drinking game when we play live, whether sober or not. Every time we say thank you, the crowd says drink,
Which is
and
after
everyone
almost
takes a
every
drink.
single song. That's just how this goes.
Yeah.
Jake and I, so Jake Kleinhart, our original drummer, who fills in for us once in a while, he and I started this game, back when the band first started. This is 2.5 years ago. When we made this game, because we noticed him and I were just hanging out, and I think this is at Rustic Road we were playing, and
It was
I looked
TG's.
back and it was probably TG's. That's fair, but I look back and Jake's like, "Man, she says thank you a lot," and I was like, "Let's drink."
Yeah.
So by the end of the night, we were plastered. Absolutely plastered. And so it became a game, and we kind of kept rolling with it. There's been a couple of rule changes. Like, I break strings a whole lot, so anytime I break a string, we do a shot. Anytime Haven drops a drumstick, we do a shot. Random stuff. Now that she's got a wireless microphone, we do a shot when she throws her microphone across the room.
It only happened once.
Butterfinger style.
It only happened once.
Well, this weekend we were at Black Lung, and I don't remember how this part of the conversation came up.
The audience was grabbing their drink to drink before I'd even said it. Like, it had become habitual. And Paul, on a live microphone, looks around the room, looks at my mother in the audience, and says, "What? Your Pavlov's alcohol?" Words. Your Pavlov's alcoholics. And probably one of my favorite things that's ever been said on stage.
I said something along the lines where we have to change the band name.
Well, feel free to play along at home if you guys hear a couple of thank yous.
Oh, it'll happen, I'm sure. I don't even think about it. And we've noticed, like, people who see us play a lot have started doing it as well and, like, saying it. And I'm like, hey, I have incepted your brain. That's a good time. No, we've heard some fun comments. Some of the weirdest ones, Haven students, when she played our music for them at her middle school, thought she was the one singing on the tracks. That was a pretty fun one. We've had, I don't even know. I don't know. It's just, we hear a lot of things. Yeah. It's a lot of things.
But you brush them off, We
do.
Especially when they're backhanded like that.
Wait, we get backhanded compliments. Most of the time people are really supportive, though.
Yeah, we don't get bad ones
Focus
very
on
often.
that.
Honestly, the funniest one to me now at this point is that we only ever get 2 band comparisons ever. And it's because as soon as somebody sees a female-fronted rock band with colored hair, it's Paramore every time. You guys sound exactly like Paramore.
We sound nothing
single
like
time.
Paramore.
And not that that's even a bad thing.
No,
but
they're
they're
amazing.
only saying it because that's just their way to, and that's just their way to start a conversation, because it is. It's awkward to try to start a conversation with somebody, but that's the only thing they can think of is because colored hair, female fronted.
We also get Alanis Morissette
funny.
a lot.
Oh, I was thinking Pat Benatar.
Yeah, we do get that one too. You get pretty much, if it's a female singer, people are like, "Oh, you sound just like that," and I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah, you got it.
No, but yeah, okay.
Like, we love all of those bands. It's just funny. It's just funny.
One of those, like, you take the compliment, but you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so antisocial off stage, and people come up to talk to me, and I'm just like, "I've been singing for 3 hours. I just want to sit here for a minute. Love you. Thanks." Yeah, and then the awkward silence that follows. Yes.
We're big fans of awkward silences here on the ArtSpace.
Yeah. We like to cut them out. Just joking, we don't. We leave them all.
I don't think we usually do.
No, we don't. Fooled you. Through the world of magical editing, we fooled you. But
Every artist's, every videographer's favorite phrase is, "We'll fix it in post."
yeah.
As they're rolling their eyes back there.
That's not just a videographer thing. They do that in the studio too. When we were recording, we got a lot of, "It's fine, I can fix it in post. It's fine, I can fix it in post." They didn't fix it in post.
Yeah, with painting, it would be like, "Oh, I'll paint over that later."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just left it on the wall. What the heck, dude? So you guys were talking about how much support and love you got from the music community. What are your thoughts on the local art community, whether visual or musically?
Art and music, or either.
Because you kind of overlap. So
Well, as long as the politicians in Kenosha keep their hands out of it, it's amazing.
okay.
We don't talk a lot of politics as a band, but one of the big ones is all of the restrictions they keep trying to put on performance venues and performers and promoters is really hard for us. Like, if any of those go through, we can't make music in Kenosha. We would have to have a promoter's license and insurance, which would cost so much more than a local band can afford, in order to just play at the venue we play at every 2 months, which has a cabaret. And so that, like, finding out about those legislations being worked on is a big stressor, and it can be really complicated. Yep. But the people on the ground who are making the art and making the music, the venue owners, the gallery owners, absolutely nothing but love and support from day one. I mean, day one we played at Sassy Bees, and the people at the open mic. I was so scared to go back to singing. Paul had never really performed out on a guitar, and it was nothing but love and encouragement. And we started going to multiple open mics. It was nothing but love and encouragement. Rustic Road, I mean, they gave us our first show. They were like, we really like what you do. Will you guys come play?
It's really
You're going to pay us to make music? And they're like, yeah. We like you. Come
at
hang
least
out.
for the music scene, it's just one big friend group. It doesn't matter if you've met before or not, but everybody's just friends. As soon as you show up to a music gig, nobody's in a sour mood. Everybody is just hanging out and having a great time and jamming. And even if it's not your style, I mean, think about it. Like we're good friends with Lunar Lizard. All the guys from that band. I mean,
They're great.
They're fantastic. And Spirit Shakers. We don't play even remotely the same style of music, but, and this is the caveat to all musicians and artists, is we're there to support as long as we don't already have a show locked down. That's the hardest part about this, is we all kind of get together during open mics and chat about how our shows went over the weekend, and we're like, yeah, I'd love to make it out to one of your shows.
We're always
7
booked.
years from now.
We're always booked on the same day.
It's one of those good things and bad things. You know, oh, sorry, I couldn't make it to your gig. I had a gig too. And we're like, dude, that's awesome. I'm glad you had a gig too. I'm sorry I couldn't make it to yours. Like, I'm glad you're out there doing it.
Yeah. And I would say, like,
Nobody's in competition here. It's
Right.
really,
yeah, I've made music in a lot of places. You know, I lived in Chicago for 3.5 years, and getting into some of those bigger cities, everyone's like chomping at the bit and ready to like slit each other's throats to get their break, right? To get your big break. Here in Kenosha, I haven't seen that. And anyone who even kind of had that attitude isn't around anymore. Like, the music scene doesn't really accept that kind of competitiveness. Obviously, there's a little bit because you want to book the same venues, but instead of competing, it's a lot of like, hey, I've got this venue I think would really love you. Come open for us here. So you can get a foot in the door and help us get into this venue over here that we haven't had a chance to play at yet. And there's a lot of show swap and a lot of really beautiful support for the music scene here. I mean, the band was built from that. You know, the original members of the band all met at open mics. And from there, the band has changed a bit since then in who's in the band, but it still comes from that same place, that same community of support. You know, Miss Behaven does a solo project called Miss Behaven. And when she's back to performing, we'll have her opening for Would You Kindly, because we want her music to be heard too. We do. And we want all of the musicians we get to talk to. I think the biggest thing is that just watching each other do what we love is a beautiful thing. And the community here really encompasses that. Another one, I got to give a shout out to the Kenosha Creative Space. They let us practice there because we volunteer. Like, they don't, it's an amazing thing to be able to set up our full sound and practice as a full band there. And Francisco's been nothing but supportive. It's how I ended up helping run Make Music Day, is because he needed an extra set of hands on deck. And, you know, we do the volunteer projects at the space, and they are really great to us and helping us, you know, make connections, and also just having a place to practice that isn't in a basement where our ears are going to explode is just a wonderful thing, and absolutely love it. As for the art scene here, I don't know as much about all the galleries. I do know that I love going to them. And I do know that with the art market starting, and we're seeing the spiritual market as well, where more local artists are being showcased. Fusion, which is a great venue that combines music and art. And I love that the two communities do cross, and I'm excited to do more with it. You know, I think that there is a lot of crossover, and there can be, and I'm excited to see what comes of some of the stuff that we're working on with Make Music Day, really bringing in visual artists with performance artists, and I'm excited to see how that keeps going.
And that's something that like Jordan Pauly is putting an effort into making more collaboration situations, like this weekend one that we haven't talked about much on this podcast, and I think that we owe a debt of gratitude to, is the comedians in our area are also that's its own art form in itself. It's another performance art, and he's been putting together these variety shows over at Public, and they have been received so well. And
bunch of comedians followed by a band, and it's awesome. They also, Public right now has an art installation that is all of their employees' artwork.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really cool. I was looking at that the other day
It was a good
while
one.
we were there. But yeah, I mean, I love seeing all the beautiful art. I mean, the murals around town, I think are really uplifting, especially after everything Kenosha's been through in the last pandemic forward. So I don't know. Oh man, are we at 3 years since the pandemic started? 4 years?
Yeah.
Over 3.
Over 3 years. But the murals that are popping up around town from local artists, and I wish I knew the names of the people who painted them, and I don't, so I can't plug you guys. I'm sorry, but they inspire us. I mean, we are inspired by the art we're seeing around the community to write music that is just as powerful. And I like that the two things can play off each other. And, you know, I think there's a lot that the city of Kenosha can do to support the art and music communities. And I'm hoping some of that's in the works because they're also trying to do a lot to restrict it. So I'm hoping that they find ways to help support visual artists and musical artists in the area because there's so much opportunity and life and love for the art forms here in Kenosha.
Absolutely.
And I want more of that, always more of that. So I think that's what I think about the community. I don't know.
I would say we probably agree.
Yeah.
It's part of why we were excited to be a part of this. Like,
Aw. Well, yay.
I love it.
Yeah, our podcast would not be the same if we didn't have your amazing music introing and outroing us. And now we're graced with your presence here in the studio. So, yeah,
So happy to be here.
whole lot of love.
So
You
happy
said
to be here.
studio.
It's a studio.
It's a studio.
It's not a studio.
It's a room.
What defines
It's a
a studio? A room with microphones could define a studio.
Sure.
That's another thing art and music have in common. Studios are
They're things that
things,
exist.
places to do both.
I mean, we did record the theme song for this podcast in my basement. Technically not a studio, but a studio.
It was a studio that day.
It was a studio for that time. That was actually recorded and mixed and mastered by the magician Cameron Fair. I don't know how he did it from my basement to what you guys can hear, but it's
Black magic and Jesus.
Yeah, something. It was awesome. So much fun.
Oh, well, yay. So do you guys have any upcoming events or other things you want to talk about?
I'm sure you do.
Oh yeah. So
Too many. You got another hour for us to list off our year-long schedule?
we tend to book pretty far out, but some highlights we're looking forward to coming up. We've got Kenosha Pride. Actually, we're playing the main stage for the festival. And last year, I think that was our favorite show we got to play. The crowd was amazing. The event coordinators are amazing. And it's just such a good time and for such a great thing, a great cause, LGBT Pride,
yeah.
For
a
sure.
huge thing for us in the band.
July 10th.
Yes, July 10th. Thank you. Dates are important. July 10th, we will be on the main stage, and I will also be volunteering at the main stage all day. So I will be there helping out. So I'm very excited for that.
That will be at Veterans Memorial Park in downtown Kenosha, the same place as last year, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, same place. But it's the 10-year anniversary. So there's going to be a lot of really great performers and really great events going on leading up to and that day, July 10th. We have before that Make Music Kenosha, which we've talked about a little bit, which is my brainchild / thing that I love. Make Music Day is an international festival that started in France 100 years ago. And it's about making music for the sake of making music, period, regardless of skill level and talent or experience. So there's clinics all day, pop-ups like here at Lemon Street, performers all day. We have Ivy Ford, Daniel Thompson, Spirit Shakers, Lund, Misbehavin', Party Marty, Jazz Cardoza, Kyle Young. There's just so many. We've gotten so many performers.
Michael Bass and the Delivery Men.
Yeah, I just confirmed them. Yeah.
That was the newest addition today.
Yeah, and so there's just going to be so many wonderful performers from here in Kenosha and from a little bit further out. We have a guy coming up from Chicago to play Spanish music. Nice. And there's going to be dancing and the block party, and there's going to be a drum kit made out of kegs that's being donated by Public, just a whole bunch of stuff just about music that day. And that's June 21st, all over Kenosha, the main event being the block party on 57th Ave, but there are events all over the city, Lemon Street, Rustic Road, a couple other venues. And then we actually got a pretty great opportunity because of Alex Benanti, who used to be heavily involved in downtown Kenosha. She's now with tourism in Lake Geneva. And we are playing out in Lake Geneva on July 26th, I believe. It's a Thursday.
I think so.
And we're going to be out right on the water in Lake Geneva. And that's something we've never done in an area we've never played in. So we're really excited about that because it's going to be so beautiful. We love our outdoor shows. So, I mean, and there's all sorts of stuff. You can see our full list of shows on our website, www.wouldyouKindlyband.com, or on our Facebook page, which is the same thing. It's Would You Kindly Band. But that's where the full list of our shows is. But you can catch us all around town here in Kenosha all summer long.
I would highly recommend that you follow us on all social platforms, not just as promoting ourselves, but because all 4 social platforms that we're on are run by 4 different members of the band. So it's entirely just a pull out of the hat what you're going to get that day.
So like Josh, our manager, runs our Facebook. I try to run Instagram. Daniel runs Twitter. So it's mostly, it's interesting. And Haven runs our TikTok.
TikTok.
We got a TikTok, and I told Haven.
You just said TikTok.
That's because I'm the oldest person here,
What
and I've
was
gone
that?
on before about how I'm an old man.
Yes. Oh, trust me, I don't like TikTok, but Haven was like, we need to talk. And I was like, we need to talk, huh? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, you do the talk.
Oh, it's just talk now?
I don't know if that is what she said.
It's the talk if you're a boomer.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Just
I'm not.
kidding, I'm kidding.
Millennial, if you please.
I give that joke to my sister all the time. She's that
Yeah, his
person.
sister calls it the talk too.
Yeah.
But we have a TikTok now, which is pretty hilarious. And our Twitter is actually, I mean, we booked a show through Twitter, and we've only had Twitter for like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I was very confused, but it's in Milwaukee, and now I'm excited about it. So a brewery was like, hey, what bands do you want to see in our tap room? And so we come to be like, we'll play in your tap room, and they're like, cool, reach out. All right.
That's how it works.
That's how it works, man. But yeah, it's pretty hilarious. The voices on all the channels are very different.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That was the rule when we got talking about socials, because like Daniel and Haven both were like, why don't we have a Twitter? Why don't we have a TikTok? And I'm like, are you gonna run it? Because ain't none of us want to run more than one. It is stressful enough as it is.
It can be a lot of work.
Yeah, you guys know how it is, man.
Someone who does all the branding.
Right.
Yeah,
It is.
I do it for my day job. I don't also want to do it 24 hours a day.
That's
But,
icky. Yeah.
Right.
It's a lot. It's a good time.
Got to do it.
Alrighty. Well, and you guys, you're in person to thank you this time for the music.
Thank you.
We always give you a shout out for making our wonderful music for
Aw,
us.
well, thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
cheers.
Had to do it. Had to do it at least once.
But you can also find us on Facebook, the ArtSpace podcast. We also recently made a Facebook group that you can join, the Marvelous Makers and Art Appreciators. That just kind of lets you know what's going on in terms of art events. You can talk about episodes, just a fun place to get kind of connected with the art community. You can also find us on Instagram, the ArtSpace Pod. And we are also available on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and we have our very own YouTube channel. So rate, review, subscribe, give us some feedback, or show us some love.
Please
So,
do.
yeah.
We're not on the talk yet, but we will be soon.
Well, we have one made,
Oh,
not one with content yet.
just a teaser for all those out
Right,
there.
yeah.
Check back.
We do have a TikTok with nothing on it.
Oh, man.
TikTok.
I gotta get that. We gotta take that clip of you
That's going to
saying,
be a drop now.
yeah, you saying TikTok like a old radio
An
host
old
saying,
granny.
Shock jock.
TikTok, what's there? No. But thank you all for listening. And we will see you in the next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Depression, addiction, the thrill that you seek. Our restlessness cages the fire we need. We're here to inspire.